Okay folks, welcome back. So Cold War Zombies has been out for a while now, and we've all seen and likely taken advantage of the elemental weaknesses system. Whilst it is a good feature and I enjoy it, I think that it can be improved. And now I'm going to go on a tangent and talk about a completely different game called Genshin Impact, but it will make sense soon enough. Some of you may be familiar with Genshin Impact, but for those of you that aren't, it is an anime-styled action MMO. The game as a whole focuses around defeating monsters and saving Tevat, the world that you play in. Now, a while back in October last year, I played Genshin Impact quite a lot as it was genuinely quite fun, and I did a couple streams on it that you can find linked in the description. As for why I'm talking about it now, however, Genshin Impact also uses an elemental damage system. See, I told you it'd make sense. In Genshin Impact, there are a number of unlockable characters that use one of the 7 in-game elements, such elements being Pyro, Hydro, Dendro, Electro, Anemo, Cryo, and Geo. Now, on its own, this adds a lot of depth, but when combined with Genshin Impact's reaction system, this depth is enhanced tenfold. The game features a very detailed elemental reaction in which every element will perform special effects when combined with every other element. These reactions are quite difficult to memorise due to the sheer number of them, but they add a lot to the gameplay. This is because you have to carefully decide which characters you wish to bring into an encounter to ensure that you have most, if not all, combinations covered. Now back to Cold War and how I think the elemental weakness system can be expanded. As you know, in Cold War Zombies we have 4 main elemental damage types in Fire, Cryo, Toxic and Electric, and that currently certain enemies have weaknesses to some of these. However, this is the extent of the system, and in most matches you don't really have to carefully consider which elements you have access to. Take a game of round-based D Machine for example. The only enemies with weaknesses are the Megaton and the Plague Hound. Plague Hounds go down very easily as it is, so they aren't an issue, and thus if you are going for a high round then you will likely end up just using Dead Wire for the Megatons. On Firebase Z there are Mimics, Manglers and Hellhounds. Again, the Hounds are easy to kill, so it's just the Manglers and Mimics to worry about, though given the Mangler's cannon is nearly a guaranteed kill and how strong the Reiki is against Mimics, they aren't too horrendous to deal with. Now granted, I haven't really gone past round 40 on Firebase, so I can't speak for super high rounds, but you can probably start to see my point. On both of these maps, for the average player, there isn't really much need to worry about what elements you have, especially in co-op. In Outbreak it is a little different, as all enemies are there, but by the time they become really annoying to kill you will likely just speedrun objectives anyway due to the world difficulty, and as long as you have at least one person using Brain Rot or Deadwire, you should be fine. The reason I brought up Genshin's system earlier is because I feel that some reactions between elements could be a good idea. I by no means think Treyarch should implement a system as in-depth as the one in Genshin, as it would be too complex. I mean, just look at this chart. Holy shit, that's a lot to remember. Take the Hounds for example. Plague Hounds are weak to fire damage and Hellhounds are weak to cryo, but due to the fact that they normally die in one shot anyway, it's hard to notice this weakness. I feel that an interesting change here would be to have their weakness impact the damage pool they leave on death. As it stands, killing a Plague Hound will leave a pool of gas that can deal minor damage to both the player and zombies, as well as applying a slight slowing effect. Meanwhile, the Hellhounds leave a pool of fire which deals moderate damage to both player and zombies alike. I think that killing one of these enemies with the element they are weak to should alter the way they die, which can both benefit and hurt the player. With the Plague Hound, I feel that a fire-based kill, whether it is from the Napalm Burst ammo mod or something else, should leave a pool of fire instead of a pocket of gas, something like this. Additionally, a cryo kill on a Hellhound should negate the pool of fire and just flat out kill the dog like so. Obviously the drawback to the Plague Hound change is that it would be more damaging to the player's health, whilst for the Hellhound change the player would no longer have the option to create an AoE damage field within a horde of enemies and thus could slow down their killing potential, but they would not be harmed themselves. This is just one change that could be made, with another being in a somewhat similar but less complex manner to the system in Genshin, in which hitting an enemy with multiple elements will apply different debuffs. For example, Cryo could make armoured enemies brittle and thus more susceptible to explosive damage for a short time, or hitting an enemy with electric followed by fire could make them volatile and cause an explosion. Obviously the fine details would need to be thought out more clearly, and I am in no way imaginative enough to do so now. Furthermore, I am also, unsurprisingly, not a game developer, nor do I work at Treyarch, so this might not be possible within the engine that Cold War runs on. I just think it might be a cool feature. As for balance, it could be locked behind an elemental pop upgrade if needed. So that is just an idea I've had for a while, and I think could be cool if implemented right. Either way, let me know what you think about this in the comments, and with that said, I think you know what I'm about to say. Cough cough, like, comment, subscribe, check links in description, all that, cough cough. So I think you should just go do it. Bye!